come to think of it, it's literally very easy for anyone, and I mean anyone, to kind of go out there, locally buy some stuff. Could be a laptop, could be a desktop PC, whatever it is, and throw them onto a platform like eBay and sell them to make profit. It's an easy thing to do. It doesn't require you to have the highest form of intelligence. As long as you can actually log on to a computer, go onto eBay, take a look at what has sold, and try to model, look for the things that are selling, look for them locally, and you will definitely find them. You see, this is not the most difficult part. And sometimes we also have a way of kind of, misplacing things and, trying to imply that the most difficult part of this reselling journey, is kind of buying stuff, bringing them to wherever you operate from. It could be from a warehouse, your living room, your kitchen, and, cleaning them up and making pictures. These are, I haven't spent more than 10 years in this game. I can tell you that this is not the most difficult part of reselling, as it were. In this video, I'm going to tell you the two most difficult parts of reselling that I had to, navigate, and sometimes even till now, I still have to navigate, these areas. And each time they come around, I look back to the years I have spent and say, look, yes, I've been able to learn every other component of reselling. I've been able to learn how to ship items. I've been able to learn how to make good photographs, for the products that I sell. I sell laptops, desktop PCs. Just in case you are meeting me for the first time, I sell on my website. I sell on eBay. I sell locally wherever I feel, the customers are people that want to get this stuff. All right. So when I have to go through some of these, challenging, aspects of reselling, even after 10 years, I still look back and say, even though I have mastered every other aspect, like I said, shipping items, listing them, sending offers to buyers, developing an eye for, beautiful stuff, things that sell, having good research skills to actually, know when to pull the trigger to buy something. These two areas, whenever they hit, I ask myself, at what point am I going to master these two areas? This video is just meant to prepare you, because it will ultimately come. If you do your reselling as a hobby, perhaps you might not really notice this, but the moment things begin to get cooked up, things begin to, kind of take shape, you are saying to yourself, yes, I feel like I want to build this into a little business, or a business that can actually replace my day job. Then you begin to notice these things. And if you watch this video to the end, perhaps you are fortunate. Yes, I call it fortunate, because I'm telling you, from 100 people that start out to be resellers, at the end of the day, when things are down, like 3 or 4 are just left standing, because the rest are going to give up on this reselling thing because of this. Basically, these two challenges, kind of roadblocks, kind of mental warfare, we call them. All right. So if you are fortunate to have seen this video, when the time comes, you're going to look back, perhaps you're going to say, yes, Hardwareflipper did warn me about this, and this is the time. And these are the things I need to do to make sure that I kind of overcome, not pretty much overcome, but just kind of make this phase of your reselling journey a little bit lighter. Because I'm going to tell you, it might be very, very challenging, might be difficult, might stress you out, and it is pretty much a mental, psychological warfare that you have to overcome if you want to go to the next stage of your reselling. One of the most, difficult aspects of this game is you having to explain to the people around you what exactly you are doing, why you are spending a lot of hours, trying to make money off a platform. It could be eBay, it could be whatnot, it could be Facebook Marketplace, why you are spending a lot of hours, pretty much wasting your time, because you're going to hear this term being used to describe exactly, what you are doing. You're going to be told that you are pretty much wasting your time. And at some point, the events, happening, the kind of income you make from the business is going to kind of show to you that you are wasting your time. If you are not careful, you might give in, to this criticism. Some of them are actually done out of love. It could be from your mother, it could be from your dad, your siblings, it could even be from your wife if you are married, sometimes your kids. People are going to tell you to your face that, look, you are making an irresponsible decision, trying to, resell stuff, wasting your time. you naturally have to go do something that's going to be worth your while, something that's going to, guarantee that you have money at the end of the day. This is the tricky part. You see, sometimes you might be so pumped up, especially when you make a sale. You are so pumped up, you're able to explain yourself, tell your wife. In my own case, you make a decent sale, say you sell something that you made some kind of decent profit on the transaction. You are so motivated that yes, this thing is going to work. This is how it works. You're going to tell your wife or your brother or your kids or your parents, yes, I bought this stuff for 10 euros and I turned around, I flipped it for 100 euro. The buyer was happy, left me a positive review. This is how it works and this is exactly what I am doing. Do not think I'm wasting my time. They are going to, take this explanation and maybe for some few days you have your peace to do whatever you are doing. But then a few days later, something bites. Perhaps you get a return or somebody wants money back for an item that was bought off your store. And you kind of carelessly tell the people around you, it could be your mom, your dad, your sisters, hey, I got a return. And then the story is going to start all over again. Why are you actually doing this? This is kind of waste of time. This is bullshit. Who does a thing like this? You sold this item, everything was good, but now the person wants to return it and possibly the item is going to be returned to you in a very terrible condition. And even then, you still have to return money. And then you're going to go back again, explaining yourself that this is exactly how the business works. And nobody, I'm just trying to tell you, is going to understand how or why you are thinking this way, why you continue to, put in the effort, without getting the commensurate returns in terms of money on the table, for what the hours that you spend doing whatever you are doing. So you're going to be trying your best, trying to explain yourself. No, this is a one-off transaction. This happens sometimes. Yes, it is what it is. Sometimes people buy your items. I even saw the item when I was sending it out. I felt like it wasn't in the best condition, but I still wanted to send it. You're trying to explain why this has happened to you. I'm just going to tell you, it is going to be an exercise in futility because it doesn't matter. Look, I have been explaining myself for the better part of 10 years until it got to a point where I said to myself, you know what? I am going to stop explaining myself. It doesn't matter who it is at this point because nobody is going to understand what I'm doing. Nobody's going to, see this whole reselling thing with the same eye I see it. Of course, I see hope here. I see reselling as a way of life, to be honest with you. It's not just about the money. Look, I've developed some kind of skills that I would naturally not have developed if I just went the way of having only a conventional job. Reselling taught me, how to navigate problems. Initially taught me how to deal with complex situations. There are times where things don't sell and you still have to, stay strong. You still have to be hopeful. Reselling has given me some skills. You see, we are in the days of AI. You see, without this reselling, without me not having something to deploy AI for, I'm telling you, I would have just only heard of it that, look, there's this thing called AI, ChatGPT, and so on and so forth. But I wouldn't have a platform on which to use it, a project on which to work on. See, that I had a reselling business and I had the opportunity to test things out using AI blew my mind as to what is actually, possible. So it got to a point I said to myself, look, it doesn't make no sense. I wasted hours. I'm telling you, if you were to, accumulate all the hours I wasted explaining myself, I'm telling you, it pretty much would be more than 2 years. If I were just to sit down now and, accumulate every 30 minutes, every 1 hour, every 20 minutes discussion I had to have with people around me as to why I am giving to, go this route of reselling, it's going to be more than 2 years, to be honest. It's going to be more than 2 years. But then I said to myself, at some point, over with this explanation. I don't want to do it anymore. Nobody understands me. Nobody can even understand. Even if I get a win, I don't talk about it. If I get a loss, like the last time I had a 700, over 700 euro plus transaction that went south, I didn't tell it to anybody because I knew if I was to raise the issue up, it would have also been another round of explaining myself as to why, this is something I want to do. And it's going to be like a ping pong game. Your wife, your brother, your sister is going to tell you, come off this thing. You are living a pipe dream life. Wake up from your slumber and, go do something that's going to be worth the while. But the thing is, I said to myself, stop This is over. I do not want to explain myself no more. And it's going to come to that time. I'm telling you, if you are still in the phase now of trying to explain yourself, the earlier you come off it, the better. Because there's no amount of explaining. The explanations that you're going to be doing, they're going to be worth it when things are good. But when things go bad, I'm telling you, there's just no way you can convince the person that's already, set on seeing you fail, set on not taking any of your explanation as to why reselling is a thing. This situation I just described to you is going to be a warfare. Like, you see, sometimes when you want to even say, I'm not going to talk to you, whoever's around you about the things you are doing, is already a problem in itself. Because if you live with your wife, she's going to see it as a kind of distrust. She's going to see it as you are not being open as to how you spend your hours. And that could be a stress on your relationship. If you live with your mom or your dad and you suddenly kind of keep to yourself, they're going to see like they are losing their son, and it's going to be a major sort of stress for them. So you being able to still be normal, why not talking to people about what you are doing? That is the biggest the challenge I have seen in this business. As not to drag the video so long, I'm just going to highlight the second most difficult aspect of reselling that I have seen. Once again, this is not for you if you want to keep this thing at a whole hobby level. But I'm saying that the moment you want to begin to scale things up, you want to begin to build a business, especially a business that will begin to, your activities will begin to eat into your time, the time you would have used to, do a normal 9 to 5. These are when these challenges are going to be activated. Second challenge is you being able to stand tall even when things are not selling. Because this reselling thing, believe me, if you want to do it as a business, it's going to take a lot of hours from you, and if you are saying to yourself, yes, I think I can, be self-sustaining, I want to focus on just my reselling business to pay my bills, you being able to stand when things are kind of down, when there's no sale going on, you do not have money in your bank account, but your bills, especially when you are living alone, or even if you are living with your wife or your parents, and you kind of have a share of the expenses of the home. The internet has to be paid, the light bills have to be paid, the water bills, the utilities, the car notes, and stuff like that. You being able to meet your own part of the deal when things are not really moving in the direction that you want them to move, that is going to be a major source of stress. It's a kind of a difficult puzzle to crack, because one little solution that you might be proposed is, get a normal job and then do the reselling on the side until, the reselling is able to kind of, grow up and make a lot of money. Then you can go back to doing it full time. I'm telling you, this little thing, it might take you 3 years to actually crack this nut, because first of all, if you get a normal job, you might have to deal with the problem that's going to be activated from that, which is the problem of time. And most times, you'll be able to combine, that's your normal job, and also be a reseller on the side, except you have some special kind of skill set. Like I already discussed in my previous videos, you have this superpower of waking up very early in the morning, or kind of staying up even late in the night and still being normal the next day. If you have this superpower, which not everybody has, then you can begin to do this combination. In the beginning, people might say, okay, yes, I'll be able to, take up this full-time job and do the reselling on the side. But when the challenges of the full-time job comes, especially when you are having a job that is very, very physically tasking, when the challenges come, then things are going to be much, much more interesting. A lot of things are going to come up that you never really anticipated. You're not going to have time. You're going to come home from work feeling very tired, really not having any motivation to even go back to your basement or your garage to begin to sort through some piles of clothes or piles of book. You're just going to hate the process. I'm telling you, this is a mental warfare that you have to go through. But if you are saying to yourself, look, I do not care, this is just a temporary phase, I'm going to get this job no matter what, my core calling is still to buy stuff and sell them online, because I've seen people, make money doing this thing. I've seen people, succeed doing this thing, especially when you also want to combine this thing with, making YouTube videos. I'm telling you, the moment you activate that option of you trying to get a job just to raise money, pay your bills, sometimes you might want to consider even getting a part-time job, because you already figured out that, doing a full-time job will really eat into your time. Perhaps a part-time job will just give you the minimum amount you need to pay your bills. See, if you have told yourself that, look, I want to make this thing succeed, it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough, and your ability to, stay through this process, do the things that you have to do, which is stay disciplined, have a focus, an eye for the future, which is, look, there's going to come a time where things are going to level out, and you being able to stay on this lane that you have chosen, which is, I will get a part-time job or a full-time job, and it doesn't matter. I am still going to come home and do something on my reselling business. Perhaps list some item, go to the post office, ship out stuff, you send offers to buyers and stuff like that. That is a difficult aspect to, difficult phase to go through. A lot of people don't talk about this because some people are not fortunate to actually get to this level. A lot of people's reselling business, just end up being hobbies or glorified businesses, which is not really a business because this is not exactly what, puts money on the table. But the thing is, if you are fortunate, like I said in the very beginning, to have this, reselling thing grow into a business, you might have to go through these two phases of mental warfare. And guys, I'm telling you, if you can go out strong on the other side, you are going to be glad you did. You would have developed some special kind of super skills, super character, super traits that you cannot find in any school, any book. Only from reselling, these kind of characters or skills or traits would come to you. This special kind of discipline that you need in the next, phases of the reselling. These are not the two challenges you have to go through, but these are the first roadblocks that you might ultimately, have to push through. Like I said, if you are able to push through, there are so many tactics that you can actually use in pushing through this. Sometimes you really have to just, cut off from the world. You may have to be locked up alone in a warehouse, in a garage for a very, very long time. You might have to stay single. You might have to move out from the people that are causing you a lot of heat. You might have to move out, go live on your own so as just to minimize, this friction that you keep having. And yes, you might have to take a lot of physical stress when you have to combine a full-time job, while also doing reselling on the side. But if you are able to do all these things, like burn through this mental warfare, the beautiful thing is that you have been so made to be able to overcome these things. I'm telling you from experience, because when I was going through it, even still currently going through it, I used to think that it wasn't possible. Somewhere behind my head, I was telling myself, is this actually possible? When am I going to go through this phase? Of course, it might look very, very impossible, but I'm telling you, because I have been able to see through, clearly pass through. If going through this phase could be put on a scale of 1 to 100, I can pretty much tell you that, look, I am already 75% in, and I see hope, light at the end of the tunnel. So if you are still on stage 1, like you are still just 10% in, and it's still very, very challenging, because I am already far ahead on this journey, I can tell you now that, look, stay on course. You are definitely going to make it through. It could be challenging. It could be difficult. But if you stay the course, you will definitely come out strong on the other side. I hope this video helps you. If it does, please go ahead, click on the like button. Consider sharing it with somebody that you might know might be passing through this shitty phase. I call it the shitty phase of reselling. Share it with them. Consider subscribing as well to the channel. Until I see you again in the next one. Peace.